Welcome everybody. Come on in. Have yourself a seat. My name is Brian Paul Lebansky. For those of you that do or don't know me, I'm the Vice President and General Manager of the KXLY radio group here in Spokane. And first off, thank you for taking the time to come out on this evening. I think and know that you will find this interesting and informative, and I think you're going to enjoy it quite a lot tonight. I want to tell you a little bit about our company. Our company is owned by a family, so we're family owned, always has been. Elizabeth Murphy Burns is our CEO. She is the second generation to own this company. Her son, Brian Burns, is currently the COO. He will be the third generation who will own that. Our company started out in the late 1800s as a newspaper across much of the Midwest and Wisconsin and Minnesota and Iowa, some areas. And we were pretty much all about print. That was our phase one. Later on, we bought radio and television stations through the 30s and 40s, and that was phase two, and that's carried on all the way to now to phase three. Phase three for us is our digital phase. And what we found with digital was we were looking for some guides. Much like you with your business, we knew we had to be in the space. We've known that we have to do it better. We know that it takes time, it takes money, it takes people, it takes knowledge. And we did some things really well, and we did some other things not so well. But the biggest thing we didn't have is a really good guide. Our company went out and formed a partnership with the two people that we're about to introduce you to that really are good guides. The first person we're going to introduce to you tonight, he has been in the digital space for about 30-some years, since the day his father brought to him a brand new computer in 1981 and told him his summer project was make a multiplication table for your sister. And ever since that time, he's been doing digital in this space, and he's evolved over the 30 years from the very beginning of coding. The other person, I'd just like to say, he's incredibly smart from the standpoint of he built the world's probably first health website, but he also had a donut shop. So go figure, how do those things work together? Not too often. But I think you're going to enjoy tonight's presentation. Take notes. There will be food after it's over. Also, we will have a drawing, and I hope you really enjoy the presentation. And Mr. James Clark will start things out.
Say something that makes some sense. So you'll hear my partner and I drone on for a while, so I figured before I put you through that, we'll show you something first that's hopefully interesting and fun. is the best part, right? It's so true. There are a number of ways, a number of takeaways, I think, from that video. For me, particularly at least in this context, though, the takeaway I would suggest you think about that video, framework for it, is really this statement right here. And that is that digital, mobile, and social media success is something that's now mandatory for your business. And it is that way because of all the things that you saw in that video. It is that way because these technologies are so deeply intertwined into our lives right now. It was amazing. We were in the car on the way over here this morning listening to a report on the radio about the fact that the Spokane City Council is seriously considering spending $100,000 of your money to provide free Wi-Fi for the homeless. I don't mean to make a joke out of it, but just think about that. And the reason for that is because even the homeless have these things. And even the homeless have smartphones that they use to access critical information via the internet. You're going to hear from my partner in crime later about how his 80-year-old mother is on Twitter. These things are just a part of our lives now, whether we like it or not. Here's one very simple example. About 90% of businesses just like yours have websites that look like this on a phone instead of like this, even though this is how we use a phone. When we're looking up a business on a mobile phone, we're probably driving, probably doing this. All we want to do is call that business or figure out how to get to that business. And if your website looks like that, you are driving customers away from your business on a daily basis. Forrester came out with a report not long ago that compared this and said, oh, by the way, that 90% of local businesses in the U.S. have websites like this. Compared that to just randomly closing your business one day a week and not telling your customers when you were going to do it. Because you were taking someone who wanted to come and do business with you and just making it impossible for them to do it. Probably not something you want to do. You can think about it. I used to, when Troy and I started doing this just, I don't know, 3 or 4 years ago, I used to have to say, think about how your kids' lives are. Now I don't have to say that anymore. For 3 or 4 years, the fastest growing demographic on Facebook has been 55 plus women. This is now how all of us live our lives. Think about the amount of time we spend in our inbox and on our phone. Even think about it through the lens of, I know a lot of folks that are here tonight are probably here because you know some of the reps here. Maybe you advertise your businesses on the radio. Maybe you do on television or in print. Maybe you buy billboards. Think about what stands between a consumer who's heard your radio spot or seen your TV ad dozens of times, who remembers your jingle, who thinks positively about your business and wants to do business with you. What stands between that consumer and your door, or calling you on the telephone and giving you money to do whatever it is that your business does? It's a computer. Probably one of these. No matter how many times they've heard that radio commercial or seen that television spot or driven by that billboard, when the time comes that they actually want to interact with you, the first thing they're going to do probably starts with a Google search box. Maybe it starts with a Yelp review to see how the community feels about your business. Maybe it involves a social media referral from somebody that they know. Maybe it involves a special offer or a coupon or a discount that's in their inbox. But it almost certainly involves a computer. And one of the other interesting facets about this is when you think about that, those radio spots and TV ads and billboards and all the things that I'm talking about, those are ways that you advertise your business. These are ways that you operate your business. And a lot of businesses talk to us about, well, we spend all this money promoting and advertising our business and making people aware of what we do, and we use the radio, and we use television, and we use newspapers, and we use billboards, and we feel like these things really work. Well, should we be moving this money into digital? No, this is not a conversation about advertising. This is a conversation that's akin to, does someone come into your store in the morning and open the door? Do they turn the lights on? Did you pay your electric bill? That's really what these services have become by now, is they've become mandatory components of running your business. But, at the same time, these are not easy to do. The very bottom of the mountain that we've drawn here, think about the most obvious basic table stakes in this whole game. Does your business show up on the first page of Google search results? The Google algorithm, it's actually not really an algorithm, it's lots of algorithms, dozens of them. It's exactly right, it's a painful thing. The Google search algorithms, its code base, has been called the most secure, protected piece of intellectual property in the history of human business. I used to say it was more secure than the NSA. It doesn't mean much anymore, so I have to come up with a new shtick, but I haven't figured that out yet. People who work on Google's code base don't see the whole thing. They work on their little component, they know what their component does, maybe they know a little bit about some other aspect of the code base that their component touches. Nobody knows how the whole thing works. And yet you're expected, as business owners who actually have to go to work each day and run a real business in the real world, you're expected to know how to get your business to show up on the first page of Google search results? I doubt it. I don't know how you would. And I know that that's at the bottom of the list because it's actually the easiest thing to do of all of those services. And in my view, anyway, that lands you in a place somewhere like this, where being successful digitally, mobilely, and socially in the year 2014 is both mandatory and impossible for your business at the same time. That's kind of a, I don't know, daunting challenge to face. And I've talked to countless businesses who feel this way, and so they don't do anything. Especially because in many cases, their experience in thinking about who can help them with this is somebody who calls them up and says, hey, I'm Joe from Yelp, and for $300, it's all about consumer reviews, and we can fix that problem for you. And then I'm Steve from Wix, and it's all about your website, and for $300, I can fix that for you. And then Yodel calls up and says, no, it's all about showing up on the first page of Google results, and for $300, I can fix that for you. And it becomes this incredibly frustrating series of failures where you throw more and more and more money at these things, and they don't actually work. That's no fun. So when you think about, we drew that on a mountain backdrop for a reason. It's sort of a metaphor that we've come up with through the years, and that's one of being a Sherpa. When you think about who's going to help you and your business with these mandatory yet impossible tasks that are critical to your business, think of that person as a Sherpa. And you might think of a Sherpa as someone who helps other people climb Everest. And that is what they do, but more important than what they do is what they are. A Sherpa is an ethnic group. These are people who for tens of thousands of years have been raised in the Himalaya at altitudes above 10,000 feet. As a result of that, their bodies process hemoglobin differently than yours and mine do. Sort of a technical term to say they get more oxygen out of their blood than we do. As a result, Sherpa can stand at the top of Everest without supplemental oxygen. You and I cannot do that. The top of Everest is 29,600 feet high. That's higher than the cruising altitude of an Airbus you'd be flying on into Kathmandu if you wanted to go climb Everest. You know intrinsically somehow what would happen to you, or to me, if the cabin on that Airbus were to depressurize. Yet that Sherpa could sit right next to you and say, no problem. Troy and I are not Sherpa. We were not raised in the Himalaya. We've never climbed Mount Everest. We're really not even all that fit. But, as a metaphor, we were born and raised in these digital, social, and mobile technologies. As Brian hinted at, my mother was the first woman ever in the state of New York to get a master's degree in computer science, period, so 1965. My father worked in the research labs at IBM back before the Silicon Valley was called the Silicon Valley. This is the only thing that either of us know how to do. Well, he knows how to run donut shops, or at least he did for a while. It's not a matter of us being smarter or working harder or being better. It's simply a matter of this is what we do. We don't know how to make custom furniture. We don't know anything about insurance. We don't know how to sell cars. We can't do HVAC. We can't fix your plumbing. We can't do any of the things that you guys do, but we know how to do this. And we would argue, or at least I would argue, that to expect you to be able to do all of these things, as well as someone like we can, would be akin to expecting me to be able to fix my own plumbing, or my own HVAC, or to be able to do any of the things that you do. We can't do those. Well, there are a lot of people out there who want to be this Sherpa for you. There are a lot of people out there who would call you and tell you that they can do this for you. And we're going to give you a couple of ways tonight to think about who you would choose, who you would give permission to do that for you. And one of the things I think you want to think about is that person who's telling you that they can help you do this, are they native to it? Can they stand at the top of that mountain themselves without the supplemental oxygen that everybody else needs? For most people, the answer is no. But that's not just about us, and ultimately it's going to be about you, but it's not just about you either. What this is about is a partnership that my partners and I have formed with a bunch of people in this room who care deeply and passionately about these things, who've been living and breathing digital and local and social and mobile technologies for years, for whom this has become a very part of the fiber of what they do. And so to hear a little bit about that, I want to introduce the hitman of Spokane, the social media man, Mike Ellis here, to talk to you a little bit about what this means to these guys locally.
Thank you. Welcome, everybody. Thanks for being here. Hope you're enjoying your beverages as much as we all are. I'm really excited to be a part of a radio group that's totally dedicated to social media and doing amazing things both locally and nationally, including being a part of saving lives. I'll tell you about that in just a moment. Locally and nationally, 700 ESPN high school sports recently, over the past few months, won a national award. This little high school sports social media project run by a bunch of non-journalists.
Hey look, I'm Flavor Flav.
Oh, there you go. Oh, there's the award right there. You got it backwards though, but I don't know if they can tell from here. That's very nice. 700 ESPN High School Sports was up for a national award. We were competing against stations in California and New York and et cetera, and little old 700 ESPN High School Sports, part of the KXLY radio group, won a national award from Radio 8 for best use of social media, and we're very proud about that. Thank you. Very nice. But let me tell you about how locally we were a part of turning social media into actually saving somebody's life. Let's meet Cat Davis. Those of you that know the Cat Davis story, bear with me. But Cat Davis was somebody that we literally found out about one Friday night at 5 o'clock on KXLY News Radio 920 with the great Mike Fitzsimmons. And he shared a story about Cat Davis who had scleroderma. Scleroderma is a deadly disease that kills you from the inside out. So not only does it harden your insides, it's hardening your outsides at the very same time. A disease you will die from. The only thing that Cat Davis and her family were counting on and hoping for was a surgery called a stem cell transplant. Once again, I'm not a doctor, but this is what she needed to be able to extend her life or to save her life. They were at the end of their rope because the insurance companies had said, we're not going to help. So they went to social media, Kat's friends and family and herself, to share her story. And that's when everything lit on fire. And we found out also that Kevin Parker, who owns the Dutch Brothers here in the Spokane area, had also heard about Kat's story through social media and decided to put together a last-minute coffee fundraiser. Here's what's amazing. We found out about it as a radio group on Friday night at 5 o'clock. The fundraiser was the next day. We decided we're going to put all of our social media firepower through all the various platforms, and we're going to share the story of Cat Davis, and we're going to tell everybody tomorrow you can buy coffee at Dutch Brothers locations to help raise money for Cat Davis. Here's what happened. The next day, hundreds, and can I say it again, hundreds of cars showed up to Spokane area Dutch Brothers locations to buy coffee and to support Cat Davis. Guess how much money was raised with that one fundraiser that everybody found out about on a Friday night at 5 o'clock and then just knocked out of the hemisphere with social media? $30,000. $30,000 not only went to Cat Davis so she could potentially get that stem cell transplant that she needed. It gets better. Next slide, please. Remember that insurance company that said, no dice, We ain't helping. Well, due to social media pressure, or shall I say attention, for some reason the insurance company changed their mind.
Imagine that.
Who'd have thunk it? So Kat Davis got the stem cell transplant that she needed with the money that was raised, the insurance company kindly changing their mind. She sent me a tweet a few months ago, and I'll read it to you. Social media 100% saved my life. No doubt about that. Love you all, and I'm also grateful. Here for Kat. So I'm proud to be a part of a group that has said social media can not only change lives, but can also save lives. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Now, we know you all came here tonight really to talk about what does all this digital and mobile and social technology mean for your business, and that's where we're going to focus for the rest of the evening. But just take a second to think about what Mike just said in a slightly different context. He talked about the incredible importance of social media for a company that owns radio stations. Imagine what you could do to market and promote your business if you owned a collection of radio stations. These guys do. Yet they've still realized the incredible power going above and beyond what radio can do of social media. And that's where one of the things we often hear from businesses is, oh, I don't know, I get it, this stuff's really important, but I'm not really as sure that it applies to our business. The things that we're talking about tonight apply to every single business. Whether you're a tiny little taco truck in northern Michigan that's only open for 5 months of the year because it's frozen the whole rest of the time, and you use Twitter to help people figure out where you are so they can come and buy tacos from you, or whether you're Delta Airlines and you employ 70 people full-time just monitoring your Twitter feeds for all the folks out there who are complaining about you, and everyone in between, these things apply to every business. It really breaks down to 4 simple things. Can your business, number one, be found on the internet? When somebody hears your radio spot, sees your TV commercial, drives by your billboard, can they find you on the web? This more or less boils down to Google, and more often than not, surprisingly, the answer is no. Secondly, once they find you, do you provide quality, consistent content about your business? From the ultra basics of where your business is, to what your phone number is, to how to get to you, all the way through to what do you do and how do people feel about your business. Again, surprisingly, and more often than not, the answer is no. Then it becomes, how do you distribute that content? If you have reasonably good quality content on the internet, how do you put that in the hands of more people? And once you've done that, how do you turn that information into leads? How does that become something that people use to do what you want them to do, which is to show up at your business or call you or interact with you and spend money with you? In that context, it all starts with Google. You think of Google as a real simple web page, a white web page with a text entry box, and you can type what you want into that box and you get some great results. But Google is not that simple. This is a gross oversimplification of what Google actually looks like in terms of how it works. Every single time you or anyone else types a query into that Google box looking for a local business, Google looks at hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of other websites to glean information about your business and your competitor's business to figure out which businesses it should show to that consumer as a result. Now, it wasn't always this way. There are companies out there who probably call on you today, and one of us here today used to work for one of them, who will talk to you about all these fancy buzzwords and techno acronyms like SEO. And they'll say, oh yeah, it's all about these keywords that are embedded in your site, and it's all about the, Jeff, you know I'm talking about you. It's all about these page titles and these robot.txt files and all this techno mumbo jumbo. And there was a day when that was true. There was a day not all that long ago, I don't know, 2009, when the only thing Google had to go on to figure out whether your business's website was a relevant result for your query about eye care in Spokane, Washington, the only thing they had to go on was your website. Well, that's not the case anymore. Now, every single time you do a query, Google is looking at hundreds of directories, including yellowpages.com and citysearch and local.com and lots of other ones. Some of them, like Yelp, actually let people rate your business and write reviews about them. It's looking at your social media properties. Does the Facebook audience and the Twitter audience actually lend any credibility to the idea that your business is a relevant result for this user or not? There are lots and lots of other search platforms. We'll talk about a number of them. People today often even search on Yelp to find a local business. And then, even more than that, more than half of those queries are being done on phones. And if you place a query for a business on a phone, Google knows you did it on the phone. And if your business's website doesn't work on a phone, you don't get returned by Google as a search result. But where this really gets fascinating, how many of you have even heard of Google+? Raise your hand. One. All right. More than most. More than most of the times we do this. The fascinating thing about Google+, it was launched in 2007. Most people thought that Google+ was an effort by Google to go after Facebook's business. Say, hey, we see Facebook's being really successful. We want to make a big consumer-facing social network. And when that didn't happen, the industry that even Troy and I are a part of kind of said, that was a failure. And everybody collectively stopped paying attention to it. But if you leave here tonight with one sort of specific fact that you remember, it is that Google+ is the single most important website today for your business, period. Not even close. And it is that way for a number of reasons, but the most important one is that Google loves and trusts Google. And you'll hear about this from Troy and I several more times over the next half an hour. What Google+ really was about was that Google realized that Facebook and Yelp and other sites like that were gathering lots of interesting information about your businesses. They knew that their search business needed that information, and they created Google+ as a platform to gather that information so that they could use it for their own business, which is search. And what that essentially looks like at the end of the day, and I know this is hard to see, but really what matters is, this is a Google+ page for an eye care place in Madison, Wisconsin. If the name of your business, the address, the phone number, the URL, and the basic facts about your business on Google+ are the same on YP and Facebook and Yahoo and lots of other places, this is what happens. You show up at the top of Google search results. If it isn't, you don't. And it is that way because the primary source of information about your business, the first place Google looks, is Google. And if the other sites don't match Google, you don't show up. In many cases, being found is really that simple. What Troy's going to talk about here in a minute is how, beyond being found, how you begin to use content about your business to help people become aware of what it is, to interact with you, and to turn those into leads. But the most basic piece of that content still starts with Google. A lot of you have probably tried AdWords. You probably think of AdWords as a way that you can sort of pay to be on a search results page, and that's true. But another really fascinating thing that AdWords does for your business is it teaches Google that you matter. By putting your AdWords on Google search results pages, by hundreds and hundreds of people clicking on those AdWords as a result of a query, in this case, Eye Care Madison, Wisconsin, you benefit from what Google calls the wisdom of the crowd. You teach Google every single time people click on those ads that your business matters to people searching for this. And they will then boost your native or natural or organic or whatever words that you want to use results as well. It's only the most basic and very sort of non-sexy and non-interesting way that you can begin to use content to help your business be found. But it's a really, really important one. Troy's going to start taking you through some more interesting ones. But before I let him do that, you heard a little bit about my background. His is varied. Let's put it that way. Donuts. He got an undergraduate degree in genetics, but then realized that he actually liked telling stories more than doing science. So he got a master's in journalism from Stanford. I think Brian alluded to the fact that he built the National Institutes of Health, built their first website in 1994 or 1995, and then went over to AOL and built the first consumer-facing health website ever to exist on the internet in, 1995. Years later, he went back to the NIH, and think about this, the National Institutes of Health. These are like hardcore cancer-researching scientists, like big-time science geeks, who have the handcuffs of the government on them, telling them what they can and can't say, talking about the details of really, really robust scientific research. And he found a way to apply that to social media and make them a success. And oh, by the way, in between, for some reason that I still don't understand, he opened up a chain of donut shops in the Northern Virginia area. So he kind of sort of knows where you guys are coming from. And with that, I'll let him take it over.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, I'm the donut guy. It's funny, right? Until I heard his introduction and Brian's introduction, I never kind of got this thing, all these health-related things I did, and then I did donuts. I don't know. Hey, donuts make you happy, that's healthy, that's good.
Fat and happy.
Whatever, right? So I just wanted to tell you guys, yeah, I was in your shoes. I was a small business owner. I get it. Thank you for coming out. We really appreciate this. I know that it's very, very tough work. So I hope that some of what we tell you here, you're able to take back and apply to your own business, okay? I'm going to launch into, as James likes to say, the fun stuff. I love to talk about content, social media, distribute your content, all that good stuff. He talks about being found on Google. He's the stat guy. I'm the storyteller. I'm going to tell you guys lots of stories, okay? But first things first. Your content is no longer just what's on your website, okay? Everybody always wonders, gee, I wonder how do I make compelling content? What do I put on my website? It's not website anymore. It's what are other people saying about you? What kinds of information are on sites like Yelp or TripAdvisor about your business? What are people saying about you? What are you saying about your business? And what are other people saying about your business on social media? What are they saying on Facebook, on Twitter? Also, what does your content look like on a mobile device, right? So when you think about content now, it's not just what's on your website, but what is everywhere else. I want to talk about, we talked about that, what these reputation sites like Yelp, do you know what people are saying about your business? I should hope so, because that's very important information. And, you know, we go through here with reputation monitoring, simply, you know, what are people saying about you? Reputation management. If they say something bad about you, how do you respond to it? And reputation control, which is basically, how do I get more good reviews? And again, I like to tell stories, so I'll tell you a story. I went to see a business owner up in Madison, Wisconsin. We were doing some present stuff for him, so we got him in all the directories. One of the directories we claimed for him was Yelp. So we went in there, we were talking to him about his reputation. He had one review. Now, he didn't even know he had one review, but he had a review on Yelp that was 2011, so it was 3 years ago. Well, this one review was a very negative review. It was a big one too, 4 paragraphs long. I mean, he got blown up.
A lot of language we won't repeat tonight.
Blown up. This person was bitter, just angry about like this business. And he sees that and he goes, oh my God, I had no idea about this. Well, here's the best part. Yelp, once your page is claimed, they let you see how many people viewed that result or that review. Take a guess. How many times do you think that review came up and people looked at it? 1,000? 77,000. Okay? And he about fell out of his seat, right? So, you know, when businesses ask me, hey, what's the ROI of me managing my reputation? Well, think about it. What do you think if he would have just spent some money or maybe just asked some people to post some good reviews about him? He might have knocked that really bad review off that first page down to the second page and got some good reviews up there. Do you think that would have been worth the 77,000 views that he got? I think so. Also, we talk about, in addition to what people are saying about you, how do you push your content out? Okay, it's not about words all the time. It's about pictures. It's about video. It's about photo galleries. Did you know that 120% more engagement on a Facebook post happens when you put a picture up there? 120% more engagement, and that's the goal. You put multiple pictures up there, it's 140% more engagement. So simply putting additional pictures makes your post better. Video, people like video these days. You know, we had a situation, we worked with Dr. Shapiro, Dr. Anderson, they run an eye care center. We started their Facebook page. Dr. Shapiro said, hey, I want to thank everyone for joining my page. Can I just put a post up, hey, thanking everyone? We said, hey, Dr. Shapiro, you're an engaging character. Why don't you do a video instead? So what does Dr. Shapiro do? He films a video thanking everyone for joining his Facebook page. And then it was funny, we did a launch event seminar like this up in Madison, and Dr. Shapiro was there. And he got, what, how many people?
Everyone's coming up to him, hey, I saw your video on YouTube. You're Dr. Shapiro. It was funny.
This guy was a rock star.
He loved it.
What did he do? He took his video, he put it on YouTube, and then he pointed to it on his social media site. Okay? So he actually produced some good content, and then he distributed it. So when we talk about distribution, how do you distribute content? How do you push your content out there?
And lucky for him, he had one of these big fancy TV cameras to make that video. Right?
Oh, actually, you know what? He did not. You know, we used one of these. His office manager used one of these to film that video. That's how easy it was. And it looked fine. So, distributing your content. We talked about this. What are that? That's social media, Facebook and Twitter. Why in the world would you distribute your content on social media? Now, I'm not a stat guy, but I'm going to say there are 1.6 billion people on Facebook. 900 million people use Facebook every single day. I promise those are the only stats you're going to hear from me. So, I'm going to tell you a story of why you should be on social media. So, I went over to my mom's house one day, and she says, oh, Troy Parkins. And she really does sound like that.
She does.
And I said, yeah, Mom. She goes, Troy Parkins, you need to help me. I'm like, whoa, 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 Mom, are you okay? What's going on here? Well, I need you to help me get on this Twitters. Oh, she wants to get on the Twitters. Oh, wait, Mom, are you talking about Twitter? You want to get on Twitter? Yes, I need to get on the Twitters. Well, my mom is an avid Fox News viewer. So I asked her, why do you want to get on Twitter? Well, my favorite show, Fox and Friends. When they're not on TV, they say they go on the Twitters. Oh, wow. So, then she wants to keep up with her favorite show. So I set up a Twitter handle for her. I even taught her how to follow people. So she follows her favorite Fox and Friends show, probably Hannity and other Fox News people, and surprisingly enough, she follows him too.
Bad news.
And she doesn't follow me.
This woman doesn't even know how to drive.
Yeah, she doesn't know how to drive. She can hardly work a computer, but she's on Twitter, and she's 80 years old. So again, let me ask you this. Why is social media important? It's because everybody uses it. If my 80-year-old mom, who is pretty tech unsavvy, can use it and she's following her favorite brands and shows, people are using it. In addition to that, we have a few other ways. You heard from James, Google is the biggest search engine in the world. What's the second biggest? Anyone? YouTube. Yes.
It was in the video, they're totally cheating.
It was in the video, and I have it right there. But YouTube is the second biggest search engine in the world, and guess who owns YouTube? Google. And what did we learn today? Google loves Google. So Google loves YouTube. So what do you think is going to happen when you put a video on YouTube and someone's searching on Google for a video? Yes, it's going to come up. That YouTube video is going to come up. So Dr. Shapiro's video might actually come up via YouTube's Google search. Another, what's that? That's email, right? Is email dead? Nobody uses email anymore. These young kids, it's all about the Snapchat. It's all about direct messaging. It's all about that, right? No one uses email. That's not right. They do use email. What is the first thing that college kid, when they graduate, if they don't have an email address, what's the first thing they're going to do? Because they have to.
Get a job.
Get a job and create an email address, because why? They're going to slap that email address on the top of their resume. Would you hire someone who put their Snapchat handle on their resume?
And this is what I do for a living, and you put a Snapchat handle on your resume, you're not even getting an interview.
Would you?
Sorry.
No. They create an email address. So that being said, your email demographic is 18 to 99. That's who uses email. In addition to that, think about this. I don't know if you all collect emails or you use them. You have what's up here, highly qualified audience, highly qualified buyers. These are people who gave you their email address. They want you to market to them. They bought something from you, maybe, and that's how you got their email address. So again, you want to look at your content, you want to distribute your content. Email is a magnificent way to do that. So if you take that back, think about that. And once you do that, you can drive qualified traffic, which my man here is going to talk about.
I'm actually going to go back one slide really quick. Just, because I'm a stat geek, another sort of interesting factoid or cool takeaway from this tonight might be that you may not realize this, because as Troy talks about, a lot of folks have started talking so much about social media and other bright, shiny things. Email is the #1 used activity on the web across all day parts, across all age groups, across all demographics, and even, wait for it, even across all devices. Yeah, if you want to reach 14-year-old kids, let's talk about Snapchat. If you want to reach anybody over the age of 18, they spend more time in their inbox at all times of the day, on all devices, in all age groups, in all locations than they spend anywhere else. One of the other fascinating things about this business for me, as recently as 4 years ago, I worked at AOL. I ran what was called AOL's homepage business. You type in www.aol.com into a browser in 7 countries around the world, everything you saw was my problem. From a revenue point of view, what that meant is I paraded around the country and met with the CMO at General Motors or folks running movie studios, and we said, hey, we have millions of people using this little web page every day. And here are the demographic informations about them, and we got this little box up in the top right corner, and you can pay me $1 million a day to put your ad there. And people did. And sometimes it actually worked. That value proposition today, only 4 years later, would get me laughed out of the room so quickly that I wouldn't even get the first 2 sentences out of my mouth. The reason for that is today, your business and every other business can put any message you want about your business in any format you want. Text, video, banners. You can put them in front of as many people as you want, whoever you want, wherever you want, whenever you want, as often as you want, for whatever you want to pay. Stop and think about that for a second. Yeah, the more you pay, the more likely you are to end up on AOL's homepage or Yahoo's news, and the less likely you pay, maybe you're over on, I don't know, Reddit, some site you don't really want to be on. But you can put your content about your business in any format. You can decide whoever you want to put that in front of. You can put it in front of them wherever you want to, whenever you want to, as often as you want to, for whatever you want to pay. Here's just one really sort of niche example of that. One of the things you will not hear from us tonight, with this one exception, is a bunch of technobabble, buzzwords, and jargon, but I will explain one of them to you. The term geofencing is one you might hear now, or even from a really good salesperson, hyper-local or hyper-targeted geofencing. What that means is we can draw a picture on a map around anything. This is the Pepsi Center. It's a basketball arena in Denver. It could just as easily be the Mercedes and BMW dealerships in Spokane, or the stadium at the Gonzaga game that we're going to be at later tonight. You can target an advertisement at only the people who were in the Pepsi Center for a given 2-hour period for a Taylor Swift concert, and in the 24 hours after that concert, happened to send or receive a tweet that contained information about Taylor Swift. That's probably not particularly applicable exactly to your business, but think about that. You can outline any geography, anywhere in the world, pick a certain period of time, target only the people that were there, who then did any number of other things that you'd like them to do. Think about how effectively you can use that flexibility for your business. Examples now of what some of this means, I think. We've talked a lot about this at sort of the 10,000-foot view. This example is one that I particularly love. How many of you know what the Simon was? Anybody? The Simon was the very first one of these. Very first smartphone. IBM launched it in 1994. Nobody remembers it. But Google does. You can go into Google, look up IBM Simon. You can see pictures. You can see consumer reviews. You can read interviews from the engineers who made it, talking about how it was going to revolutionize the world. How many folks out there remember or have ever heard, what's the gestation period for an elephant? 26 months. You don't know that. Guess what Google does? Google knows absolutely everything. It is the repository, the sum of all human knowledge. But it's just a machine. What Google doesn't know is it doesn't know that Penn Dutch Furniture and Crafts and Penn Dutch Structures are the same business. This is an Amish custom furniture dealer in western Pennsylvania that just absolutely kills it. Huge business, they make incredible furniture, they're really, really popular. Every single other word on this Angie's listing and YP listing is exactly the same. But because this says Penn Dutch Furniture and Crafts, and that says Penn Dutch Structures, you search on Furniture Store Pennsylvania and they don't show up. Because Google is just a machine. Garbage in, garbage out. You tell Google inconsistent things about your business, Google doesn't know who you are, they don't know where you are, they don't know whether they should show your business to consumers searching for what you do. In some cases, it is actually that simple. On the other hand, our same friends Anderson Shapiro, 1200 John Q. Hammonds Drive, number 100. Now, 6 months ago, that didn't say Q, and the pound sign wasn't there in some cases, and you couldn't find them on Google either. Now it's as simple as because that listing is consistent, and I mean exactly consistent, across every one of these dozens and dozens of directory listings, now, voila, they show up at or near the top of Google search results on laptops, tablets, and phones consistently for laser eye surgery, Madison, Wisconsin. I know there are at least 12 businesses that offer laser eye care in Madison, Wisconsin, and they show up near the top. And most of the reason, well, some of it is because Dr. Shapiro made a cool video, but a lot of it is simply because they gave Google the correct information about their business. Now, these good, bad, and ugly examples, when social media goes bad, this applies everywhere in every aspect of what we're talking about. Troy's going to take you through another couple fun examples.
I love to talk about social media, and small businesses are always wondering about social media. I talk to businesses all the time, and I look at their page, and I see that they're doing some posts. We sit down and we start to chat. I say, hey, it looks like someone's posting for you. Are you doing it? Or, who's doing it? And they usually tell me, oh, well, you know what? I just hired this college kid. He's one of those millennials, and she really knows how to post because she does this all the time. She grew up with all this stuff. She's great. And I said, oh, okay. Well, what's your message? I really couldn't get that from reading your page. And they're like, oh, message? Yeah, what's your social media plan? Do you have one? What's that? They say. I asked, what's your operational plan? Like, if someone complains on your social media page, how do you deal with it? And they're like, those are good questions. So, and then I tell them, I say, well, it's the same thing as this. Would you trust your accounting and your payroll to someone who, hey, I balanced my checkbook yesterday. I could do your payroll for you. No, you wouldn't. Why would you do that with social media? Right? So you really have to sit down and formulate the plan, formulate your message, and formulate an operational plan of what you want to accomplish with social media. Once you do that, then you need to be engaging. You have to come up with those engaging posts. You have to come up with posts that are going to make people want to follow you and like you and communicate with you. Again, I love to tell stories, so I'm going to tell a story. Actually, I'm going to act this one out. How's that?
Yeah.
I'm going to act this one out. I like to tell people that social media is like, hey, it's like what we're doing right here. It's like a cocktail party, okay? How is social media like a cocktail party? Well, let me show you how social media is like a cocktail party. Let's say I just opened up my donut shop last week. I'm right down the street, and I'm coming to this cocktail party, maybe to do some networking, see what's going on. So I get my drink, and I'm walking around. Well, what do you do when you get to a cocktail party? You look around, look at these fine people out here. Oh, look, James Clark is here. Hey, James, how you doing, man?
Good, how are you, Troy?
I'm doing well. It has been a long time.
Cheers.
Cheers. Hey, my mom said she was following you on the Twitter.
I know, that's scary. I gotta watch what I say. I use a lot of foul language on the Twitter.
Yeah, what do you talk about these days?
I talk about how hard it was to write a software program in 1981 for my sister. It's the last interesting thing I did, so I just always talk about that.
Oh, wow. Okay, well, very interesting. Well, it's good to see you, man.
My pleasure. Hope to see you soon.
Yeah. Hey, look at that. I came in, got my drink, I looked around, I saw someone I knew, I went over and I talked to him. And I listened to what he had to say. I asked him questions.
Yeah.
I asked him questions, right? Okay, here's scenario number 2. I'm still that donut shop guy, and I want to sell. So I come in here and I go get my drink, and I say, oh look, James Clark is over here. Hey James, how's it going? Hey, you know what? I just opened up this donut shop down the road, and you know, we have deals all the time. Tasty Tuesdays is our best deal ever, and you can get coupons. You know, I'll send you some email coupons. Nope. Wow, what happened there? Scenario number 2 is what I see small businesses doing all the time on social media. All they do is sell, 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 sell. Okay? Now look, I'm not advocating you shouldn't use your social media properties to sell, but that's why you're setting them up to sell your products and your brand. But what you need to do is engage your audience, and then you can sell. So look, how about this? Here I go again. Donut shop guy, scenario number 3. Oh, hey James, how's it going, man?
Good, how are you, Troy?
I'm doing well. Hey, did you catch those speakers talking about digital services?
Yeah, those guys are clowns, man. I had to get out of there and go hang out by the bar.
You're hanging out by the bar, huh? Oh, interesting.
I didn't even get to stick around for the dinners. I'm kind of hungry.
Well, hey, you know what? I just opened up my donut shop down the road.
Really? I didn't know that you did.
Yeah, man.
You guys open now?
We are. You want to catch come by, get a coffee?
All right, let's get out of here.
Yeah, hey. So, in that case, I go, ask him some questions. He obviously didn't like those speakers. But I then took the opportunity to sell my donuts, or to actually mention my donuts. And hey, lo and behold, he wanted to get one. But that is the whole point about running a successful social media campaign and page. If you engage properly, then you can sell. Okay? How do you engage properly? You ask questions, you have good content, and remember what I said about good content. Pictures, video, different kinds of content. I'm going to show you some examples of social media gone wrong. Here we have Caesars. Really, you don't see any pictures up there. That's not good. And look, this is a missed opportunity right here. Come and have a spooky killer margarita. Okay, they told me about it, but how about this? If they actually showed me that spooky killer margarita, I might actually want to go to Caesars. Here's an example of someone that did something good. We work with the Madison Chamber of Commerce. And if you look up here, they have bright pictures, really good stuff. This is an interesting post right here. Steve Case came by, our old AOL founder, and he talked to a bunch of small businesses. And they wanted to communicate that. So instead of just writing a post that Steve Case is here and he talked to small businesses, they actually took a picture. And there's Mr. Steve Case right there. Okay, so when you're thinking about social media, once you have your plan, you need to engage properly. And it doesn't just stop with social media. We're talking about email too. How do you successfully use email? And we talked about the importance of email, and I don't usually do that, but I'm going to read this stat right here off the slide. There are 3,133 times more messages sent via email per day than posts on Facebook. That's very significant, being that 900 million people use Facebook every single day. They're posting a lot, but think about how many emails are floating around out there. So in order for you to engage your audience via email, you don't want to do this. These are emails gone wrong. There's one full of text, blah, blah, blah. Trust me, I read it. There's no call to action there. This one has a bunch of text, a bunch of links. Would you click on those links?
I'm not clicking on that. It's going to give me a virus, probably.
Exactly. Here's a different, this is emails gone good. Here's some examples here. Hey, who likes free stuff here? Anybody like free stuff? Brian loves free stuff. Everybody likes free stuff? Because I hear someone's giving away an iPad mini. I don't know where I heard that. But I love free stuff. Love free stuff. So check this out. And not only do I love free stuff, I love Terra coffee mugs. And lo and behold, my favorite Irish gift store sends me an email, and they have pictures of the mug, and they have a call to action right there. Click to enter. What else do? They want me to leave them a good review on Yelp. So they put another call to action there. Hey, like us on Yelp. Here's our Madison Chamber of Commerce again. They want to give their members news and information. How do they do it? Engaging headlines, engaging pictures. You have to consider all of this when you're doing your email campaigns and you're trying to reach and convince your audience. Remember that call to action. Hey, mobile. Mobile's important, isn't it? Let's say I pulled up these non-mobile sites. And I look up there, and because at this point in time there are more mobile devices out there than desktops and laptops, and I looked here, hey James, can you see where the phone number is?
You can't reach to pinch and grab.
Can you go up there and pinch and grab that? No?
No. I can probably find it on the furniture.
How do I get here? No? Okay. Well, how about this? Wouldn't this be a lot better? Call us. One click. My thumb can get there. Map us. Find us, right? I'm driving and I have my phone here. I'm trying to hide it from the cops. I need to find what I need very easily.
Remember,
okay?
That's how we use our phone.
Yeah, that's how we use it. Thumb friendly. Is your website thumb friendly? Are you presenting your content so people can find you on a mobile device? Very important. James is going to walk you through some testimonials.
I'll take that instead. I'm not going to read to you the testimonials that a couple of our clients, one that we very recently started working with here in Spokane, and one we've been working with for a while in Madison. I'm not going to read what they say, but I'll gradually scroll through them and let you read them. I think there are two themes that come through, or at least we hope they come through in these testimonials. And while we've given you some factoids and some pictures and some fun stories, I think there are really two things that I would suggest you look for in these testimonials, and two things that you think about when evaluating the question of to whom are you going to grant the very valuable permission of being able to be that Sherpa. Who are you going to allow to help your business address this mandatory yet impossible task that lays before you of being able to be found and create quality content, turn that quality content into leads on the internet? I would suggest there are two incredibly important things you need to think about in answering that question. One of them is you need to do this with somebody you know and somebody you can trust. You need to work with somebody you can sit down with, someone whose hand you can shake, someone you can talk to about this, who's been here for a while, who's going to be here a year from now, and 2 years from now, and 3 years from now. Because there are a whole bunch of snake oil salesmen out there. And yeah, it's not Everest, you're not going to die trying to do this, but you can waste a whole bunch of money. You can put your business in a really bad spot if you pick up the phone and you take a call from one of these guys calling you from a boiler room somewhere who's just going to shove your business off to Bangalore or Bangladesh when they're done. Doing this with somebody you trust is incredibly important. Secondly, when you think about, before you even consider pulling your checkbook out and giving someone money to help you with this, think about this. Does that person help you understand this first? If they're asking you for money to fix a problem that they're describing to you in a bunch of techno-babble, mumbo-jumbo, and a bunch of fancy acronyms and words you don't understand, they're doing that because they don't understand it either. And they're trying to hide behind that stuff to impress you and convince you that you should give them your money, when really they don't know any more about it than you do. Ask them, demand from them, require of them that they help you understand it first. And make sure that they explain it to you in human, understandable English. Because if they don't do that, it means they can't do that. And if they can't do that, it means they don't really understand it. And you would be amazed how many businesses out there are trying to take your money to do these things for you when they can't even do it for themselves. Now when you think about that Sherpa metaphor, that idea of who's going to help you do this, this is really the best lens that you can use to look through and say, who should I trust? Can they, will they explain it to you first? So, I think Brian mentioned this at the top. If he hasn't, I'll say it now. I hope you didn't bring your checkbooks tonight because we don't want them. This is not an opportunity to sell anything to you. All we're hoping that you get out of this is a cocktail, some food, maybe you learn something, maybe you leave this seminar tonight feeling like, all right, maybe we're somebody that you would be interested in talking to further about this. And in building off of what I said before, if you were to decide that you want to have a further conversation about what this means to your business, here's how we would start that. The easiest thing for you to do is fill out one of the cards on the table in front of you, or talk to one of the reps here that you may otherwise know. But the first time we sit down together, we still don't want your checkbook. If we have a meeting, it's still no obligation. We're not going to sit there and ask you for money. What we're going to do is we're going to bring you a report card for your business online. We're going to give you a score. This one is Royal Donuts. This is not Troy's donut business. It's a different one. His would have been a much better score. You can think about the score like you would a high school geometry test. And a 25 is pretty bad. And we're going to take you through a report. This doesn't come from us. This comes from a certified third-party platform, a company who will present to you what your business looks like through the eyes of Google. And in the case of Royal Donuts, we'll see that, whoops, I didn't mean to do that. We'll see that they are not listed and claimed on a bunch of these directories we talked about. And we'll explain to you what being claimed means. You'll see that they don't have a Facebook page and a Twitter profile. In fact, they don't even have a website at all. Now you can see why they get a 25. You can see that this business has only ever been mentioned 3 times in the history of the internet. And those mentions weren't very good. They only got 2 stars. You can see they don't do any search advertising. They're not giving Google any of the wisdom of the crowd. But maybe most interestingly for you is we'll show you how your business compares to your competitors. And that's why the cards in front of you have little spots where you can tell us who your competitors are. Because if you have a 25 and they have a 56 and a 44, all we're going to do for an hour is explain to you what the red X's and the green check marks mean, why your competitors are doing better or worse than you are, and what it might mean and what it might take to turn some of those red X's into green check marks. And at the end of that, all we would ask you to do, maybe if that conversation goes really well, is we might wrap it up by saying, would you be willing to let us come back and see you a week from now with a presentation made specifically for you to tell you how you can turn a few of those red X's into green check marks, and if you did, what it might mean for your business. And I would argue, and again, this is one of the takeaways I hope you'll take away from tonight, it's up to you. I would argue that that process, and force us to explain it to you first. Force us to help you understand exactly what it is that we're doing, and only then, only once we've done that, are we going to ask you to take your checkbook out. Now, having said all that, we're actually going to, Brian got stage fright, so I'm just going to go ahead and do this myself. Explain to you how do you want to do that. There are cards in front of you that if you want to fill one of those cards out, great, please do. Hand it in to the kind folks at the back of the room. If you don't want to do that, you can talk to one of the account executives here. A lot of them are standing up at the back. I think you know a lot of them already. You guys want to stand up? Are we all standing? They're waving. We have folks at a table back there. Or you can talk to Troy, you can talk to me, you can talk to Brian, you can talk to anyone here. We don't bite, and we're not going to ask you for any money. And with that, we will be around. I know you've probably got to go. In some cases, you might want dinner. You might not feel comfortable asking questions about your business, but anybody have any questions? I can't imagine that everything we said makes total sense, and again, I promise we won't bite. So
fire away.
Yes, ma'am.
So do you just do certain parts of it? Like if we just want social media and maybe not the email marketing?
2 answers to that question. We are capable of doing all of these things and would have a conversation with you initially about how all of these things might help your business. But ultimately, yes, you can do 1 thing, you can do 2 things, you can do 30 things. It's entirely up to you. Most likely, each of your businesses do a couple of these things reasonably well already, but have real challenges with 2 or 3 or 4 of the other ones. And one of the reasons we start this by doing that digital scorecard and having a conversation about this with you is every business is in a different place. And there is no one solution, there is no one product we're trying to sell to everybody. It starts with an evaluation of where your business is. You might need 6 things. You might only need 1. You might think you need 2 things, you actually need 4. But it's really, it's up to you what you need. But yes, it could be any number of different things. Anybody else? I have a hard time believing everything else made sense, but maybe you're all just hungry.
No questions about the donut shop, huh? We actually tried to make it gluten-free, but it's the grease that got too greasy.
All right, so oh, there's a question. Yes, ma'am.
Do you maintain the sites for the customers after you build them?
Yes, absolutely, unquestionably. Our whole value proposition, our whole premise, I think, is based on the fact that you are experts in what you do. You have businesses to run. You may ask us questions about a return on investment. I will often return that back to you with a question about a return on time. How much do you gain from spending a whole bunch of time doing things that we're far better at than you are? And in every case here, we would not only talk to you about what it is that you might need to do, but do it for you, maintain it, grow it, and come back to you every month and talk to you about how it's doing. Absolutely, unquestionably. There's a
Your
question you
website, social media, whatever we're working with you on, presence, reputation.
There's a question that you haven't asked that normally gets asked, so I'll ask it and answer it. One of the things that businesses often ask, because people are calling you up right now, I know this has happened to a few of you probably this month. Businesses are calling you up and telling you that if you give them money, they can guarantee that you will show up at the top of Google search results. Well, I'm here to tell you that's a lie.
Don't believe them.
If the question is, can someone guarantee me that I can always show up at the top of Google search results for queries about my business, the answer is no.
Hey, even if I spend $1 million,
You could spend $1 million a day, and there is absolutely, you could spend $10 million a day. There is no guarantee from anyone out there that they can get you to the top of Google search results every single time. So as soon as someone tells you that, just hang up the phone, because they're lying. But if there are no further questions, I don't want to stand in between you and dinner. We will be milling around. Feel free to come up and if you have further questions. But before we do that, we're going to give away.
We have some free stuff to give away. Okay, get your tickets out.
Drum
Here
roll,
we
please.
go. I have the winning ticket right here. And the number is 642238.
Oh, come on!
There he is.
You're the next contestant on the iPad is right. Now we're going to teach you one more valuable life lesson. There is no such thing as a free anything.
No free rides.
You
no
do
free
get the
lunches.
iPad, it's yours,
You get that? What?
but you have to take a picture.
You have to take a picture with us.
And we are going to post this picture online. Right in between.
Okay, like do something cool.
All right. Congratulations. Thank you all for your time.
Thanks for your time.
Have a good night. We'll be around.